This is Behind the Scenes. I'm Scott Sexsmith. As Sudbury.com continues to put a face to the people caught up in the homeless crisis, reporter Jenny Lamott recently spent an evening with outreach workers from the Go Give project. Jenny, welcome to the show. Let's start with the challenges that outreach workers face when visiting hidden encampments. What obstacles are they facing each night?
It's really a matter of time. There is only so much time in a night to be able to access everyone who requires assistance. The Go Give project maintains a client list as well, which is something where they have missing people or people they have not interacted with that they can just become more aware of or alert family members. So there is a number of people they are trying to reach each night. At one point, there was a very large encampment in Memorial Park, which is at the center of the city, right near City Hall. But since there have been dismantlings and people being dissuaded from setting up there, these encampments have popped up all over the city. And Sudbury is Canada's 7th largest city by geography. So there is a lot of nooks and crannies in the city where people go. And not only is it inefficient for outreach workers and difficult to find everyone, it can be potentially unsafe. Part of my journey to these encampments was hiking through bush areas with only the flashlight on my cell phone to keep on my toes. That makes it a difficult journey each night, and each night these Go Give project volunteers are doing that work.
Jenny, how has the homeless crisis evolved in Sudbury, particularly in terms of the distribution of people across different parts of the city since the height of COVID?
Really, COVID is what exploded the homelessness crisis here in Sudbury, but more so in that it was a hidden homelessness problem before. And because there were so many services and shelters and things like that that had to shut down at the height of the pandemic just to keep everyone safe, there became a large number of people that were in an encampment in Sudbury's core. But that isn't the place, I guess you could say, for an encampment, and it was very visible. So the city hired a consultant to understand the best way and the best way of putting human rights forward to deal with this encampment. Now, many don't agree with the way that they dealt with it, but here we are. And so a Memorial Park is now completely clear, but that means there are encampments with 4 to 15 people, one with upwards of 25 at all parts of the city. And I mean, driving from this city from one end to the other takes 20 minutes. So it is, these people are very spread out. They are victim to wildlife, to the exposure to temperatures, but also many of the homeless people are substance users. And the more they move out into these outlying areas, the higher chance that someone could die of overdose because they're using alone or further away from medical help.
Jenny, I want to talk for a second, we can, about the work of the Go Give project and certainly similar organizations. Can you shed some light on the kind of work that they're doing in Sudbury?
Go Give project is very specific in the work that they do. They've been around for about 2 years, started as a volunteer organization, just a husband and wife trying to feed the people that were in the park and in different areas. Evie Ali, I believe, has lived experience as well, so understands the challenges that people are facing. They noticed a gap in services at night in Sudbury, in that everything that we had in terms of shelters, which would fill up quickly, drop-in services, things like that, were all closed at night. They began doing a 9 to 2 a.m. shift. They now switched it to 8 to 1 because they're finding more people. And this is specifically what they've been trying to do, is interact with those people who are out at night. And I can tell you, having been out with them many times, that Sudbury, and I think any city, becomes a very different place at night. And if we're going to report on these marginalized and vulnerable communities, I feel it's important, and Sudbury.com feels it's important, to interact with them directly to hear their stories. And so being able to go out at night with the Go Give project gave me a much better understanding of everything that people are currently facing on the streets as much as possible.
Okay, I want to talk about that for a sec, Jenny. When you see it firsthand like you did, what stood out to you? What more needs to be done? And where is the system failing these individuals?
I have to admit that this is now my 3rd time going out with the Go Give project. And this is in addition to, I often spent lunches in Memorial Park. I try to interact with our vulnerable folks downtown as much as possible. It's a very frustrating thing to continue to interact with people who do want help, who do not want to live the life they are living or make the choices they are forced to make. But when they do try to access help, there are waiting lists. There is very low take up for mental health or addictions capacities. There's very little sort of treatment options because there are huge waiting lists, and anything private is unaffordable at this point. But it also comes into play that there are no release plans. So we have Sudbury District Jail here in Sudbury. There is also, Monarch Recovery, these sorts of programs. And while they do their best to help people as they are leaving these institutions, even the hospital, there isn't what's called pre-release planning, which is putting together those social determinants of health, housing, a plan of treatment care as you move back out. So many people are leaving treatment, leaving institutions like jail, and going immediately back to the street and back to the same groups of people that were causing them to make these bad decisions in the first place. So really, one of the most frustrating things is the lack of infrastructure to be able to support these people, because as we continue to go along, it seems very clear that these issues are systemic, and that without reevaluating our healthcare system and really the justice system and those social determinants of health, there is not going to be a solution to this problem.
All right, let's hope one day we find one. Sudbury.com's Jenny Lamotte. Thanks for this, Jenny, and thanks for taking us behind the scenes.